Hi, I'm Bob. Welcome to today's course on the solutions to the exercises about the long-run costs. We reached the last part of the section. If you find it difficult to solve the problems, please check out my Introductory Microeconomics course. The link is in the description below. Here is exercise 3.13. In solved problem 7.6, equation 7.26 gives the long-run cost function of a firm with a constant returns to scale Cobb-Douglas production function. Show how, for given output level, cost changes as the wage rate W increases. Explain why. From solved problem 7.6, we know that for constant returns to scale Cobb-Douglas production function, the long-run cost function is C equals theta times Q, where theta is a function of the wage rate and the rental price of capital. As the wage rate increases, theta rises, and the cost C rises as well. Or we can use the envelope theorem. The derivative of the cost function with respect to the wage rate equals the optimal amount of labor, which is positive. So the cost rises with the wage rate. If you are interested in the envelope theorem, please find the proof at the end of this video. Let's solve exercise 3.14. A water heater manufacturer produces Q water heaters per day, using L workers and S square feet of metal per day, using a constant elasticity of substitution production function. The hourly wage rate is $20, and the price per square foot of the metal is 50 cents. In part A, what is the marginal product of labor? What is the marginal product of capital? In part B, what is the expansion path equation? Draw the expansion path. We use the tangency rule to find the expansion path equation. The cost minimizing bundle of inputs for a given level of output is at the tangency point, where the slope of the isocost line equals the slope of the isoquant. The expansion path equation is S equals L. The expansion path line is a straight line with a slope of 1. In part C, derive the long-run cost function. We plug the expansion path equation into the production function and write the output as a function of labor. Then we write the inverse function of labor in terms of output. Another input can also be expressed in terms of output. Now we have the two inputs as functions of output. Substituting them into the cost identity gives the long-run cost function. It is the minimum cost the firm incurs to produce a given level of output. C approximately equals 20.75 times Q. In Part D, suppose the price of metal decreases to 25 cents. Draw the new expansion path. Discuss the magnitude of the shift in the expansion path due to this price decrease. We use the tangency rule to find the expansion path equation again. The new expansion path equation is S equals 2 to the power 1/3 times L. The slope of the new expansion path is around 1.26. It is steeper than the previous one. The firm uses more metal and less labor to produce after the decrease in the metal price. Let's go to exercise 3.15. California State Board of Equalization imposed a higher tax on alcopops, flavored beers containing more than 0.5% alcohol-based flavorings, such as vanilla extract, until California banned alcopops in 2011. Such beers were taxed as distilled spirits at $3.30 a gallon rather than as beer at 20 cents a gallon. In response, manufacturers reformulated their beverages to avoid the tax. By early 2009, instead of collecting a predicted $38 million a year in new taxes, the state collected only about $9,000. Use an isoquant diagram to explain the firm's response. Suppose the firm can choose between the alcohol-based flavorings and the other flavorings. They are perfect substitute inputs for the firm. The isoquant is a straight line with a slope equal to the marginal rate of technical substitution. On the other hand, the isoquants are straight lines with a slope equal to the relative price of the alcohol-based flavorings to the other flavorings. We need to compare the slopes of the isoquant and the isocost to find the corner solutions. Without the higher tax on alcopops, the relative price is low. So the isocost line, isocost 1, is flatter than the isoquant. And the corner solution, A, occurs on the horizontal axis. The firm only uses alcohol-based flavorings. With the higher tax, the relative price of the alcohol-based flavorings is high. So the isocost line, isocost 2, becomes steeper than the isoquant. And the corner solution, B, occurs on the vertical axis. The firm only uses other flavorings. The government could not collect tax on alcohol-based flavorings as a result. Let's find answers to exercise 3.16. See the application 3D printing. When fully incorporated by firms, how will 3D printing affect the shape of short-run and long-run cost curves? The 3D printing reduces both the short-run and long-run average cost. In conventional production, the average cost is high with a small amount of output, and the average cost decreases gradually as more and more output is produced in the areas mentioned in the textbook. By contrast, in 3D printing, the average cost is similar, regardless of the amount of output. Let's solve exercise 3.17. Trader Joe's sells very cheap and popular wine. When asked why the wine is so cheap, the winemaker emphasizes the volume of output, stating that it is easier to make wine in a 700,000 gallon tank than in a 700 gallon one because there is less exposure to air, and oxygen is the enemy in winemaking. Wine educator emphasizes the role of machines. The company uses machines to harvest the grapes, which helps keep labor costs low, but also increases the chances that bad grapes end up in the wine. One of these reasons is based on choosing input proportions to minimize cost, and one is based on economies of scale. State which is which and explain. The company chooses the cost-minimizing combination of machines and workers to harvest grapes. It is an example of varying input proportions to minimize cost in the long run. The first statement is based on economies of scale. The average cost of output decreases as more and more output is produced. A higher volume of wine leads to a lower average cost. Both measures contribute to the low selling price of wine in Trader Joe's. Thank you very much for solving all the exercises with me today. See you tomorrow in the next section of Chapter 7. Goodbye. Thank you for watching this video and subscribing to my YouTube channel. See you next time.